It's that time again, man. It's time to put Terminator on the stand and just tear him apart.
Sounds good.
We got the running backs we're gonna get after this time. So what we've done is we've once again had AI put together a compilation or a set of tier lists and just combine them into this one where it's assessing where they think they all go based on what analysts and experts across the country have said. So they've put it together and it looks kind of sort of like this. This one I felt like was tougher than the last two that we've done, to be completely honest, because I think there are rationalizations for a lot of these groups. And when I say groups, real quick definition here, we're just talking about running backs. So teams like Baltimore, even though they're already way up in S tier, this is not including Lamar Jackson. So it's just the running back groups. And it's really not so much taking into account their receiving ability, I believe, so much as they're just on the ground. So we got that out of the way. Why don't you get us started with your first guy? Tell us one team that is not in the right place right this second.
Yeah, just to echo what you were just saying, I've struggled with a bunch of that just because at first glance there were teams that I was like, wait, what is it thinking? And I was like, oh, no, that makes sense. One of the ones that I felt like was a little too high praise on this, or maybe that's just my perception of it, is the Miami Dolphins. I think everyone loves their exciting running back duo there, or what has been. But I think that this year they're going to probably be a little bit off of that. A-Chain's back. He's electric. He's a lot of fun to watch. And then Jalen Wright, not exactly sure what to expect there, but it'll be interesting. The Mostert role that's been there has been, again, two similar backs. Now it's just A-Chain kind of leading the way. He's a good running back. He's solid, but it's a question of his productivity with also getting in the end zone. And that team uses its wide receiver options a lot too, so it's not like they're going to overload him. I think I would move him down into the B tier. Nothing far. I think I would put him, somewhere behind the Bills. But yeah, somewhere in the mix there. So yeah, I don't know that necessarily the front, but somewhere in there. So that's my thoughts on it. What about you?
Yeah, he has the potential. A-Chain by himself, he can stay healthy. If that team can stay generally healthy this year, I think they've got the potential to prove you wrong and him to be for them to be an A tier. But it's rough. I liked their depth before, and now I've got questions. So I think that'd make me doubt it this much, maybe more. That team is. There's also this general feel that team in general is not quite imploding, but like minor implosion. Right. Like there's some changes really coming. So just for production, I have some doubts. But as for what Devon A-Chain is, I think he's quite good on his own. I just wish they had better depth around him.
Yep.
So now
I'm going to place. Yeah.
I'm going to be selfish. I really like my Cardinals running back room. I think James Conner, if we really just had James Conner and then a bunch of nobodies, I would still likely put them in B tier. But I really like the guys we have behind him. And again, we're not including Kyler Murray and his running ability, but our offensive line actually suffered. I think by the end of the season, we were missing 3 out of 5, and we were still putting together good run games. So I see that continuing. I'd put him up pretty high. I'd probably put him pretty close to where you just put Miami, actually, in front of him. No, I'm just kidding. Just right there with him. It's not a massive change. It's not like I think we're up there with the Eagles and so on. It's just I do think it's a little bit slept on, which is weird because James Conner will bash some skulls. But we'll see. So what'd you think? Am I out of my mind for that or?
No, I think that James is underrated regularly, both in his ability to just pick up yardage consistently and take big hits and deliver them, which is always fun to watch. And I like bigger running backs anyway. So, I think that makes sense. You kind of got a group of guys behind there that share and give different looks. And then, of course, like you were pointing out, not that we're taking him into consideration from a yardage standpoint, but in a spread the ball kind of around helps standpoint, I think that as well. I think as long as they're a healthy running group, I think that makes perfect sense to me. Perfect sense to me. Well, this B tier is getting pretty crowded, so I figure we ought to move somebody out of it. I'm making the case for the Bills to be higher than this. James Cook put together a quiet little 1,000-yard season. We tend to group things, especially in a season where we have like Barkley and Derrick Henry rushing, trying to push for 2,000 yards. James Cook gets 1,000 yards, like, oh well, that's a decent little season. But he also had 16 rushing touchdowns. And Allen gets a ton of rushing touchdowns, which is great. Again, we're not taking that into consideration. But the other guys picked up another 4 on top of that. So 20 touchdowns out of this running group is pretty great. So I would put I'm going to say A, but probably towards the front end of that A. I think that they're a good group overall. That's kind of where I'd put maybe back one, but somewhere in that, somewhere interchangeable there. I got you. Part of me wants to say I expect to see a little bit more out of them this year, but the truth is, I think the way that offense spreads the ball around, I don't know that we'll see more from a yardage standpoint, but it'd be amazing to see the same kind of productivity in the red zone. What do you think about the Bills?
Yeah, I think I actually love that one. He had 16 touchdowns on the ground. The Baltimore Ravens had 21 total rushing touchdowns for their entire team. And so if they're S tier, like I could almost make the rationalization to move them up there. There is something to getting the hard yardage, getting the 3rd and 1 when everyone knows you're about to run the ball is really tough. It's one of the reasons I like my Cardinals. But for the Bills, it's even harder at the goal line, and they're still getting it. So it's a credit to their O-line, their OC, and the fear that Josh Allen strikes in people. But still, I think that move makes total sense. So, yeah. Next, I'm going to take Minnesota if I can find him. I know Aaron Jones is getting a bit older. I get it. But I still think that he's got some juice left. I mean, is he going to hit 1,800 yards? No, it's nothing like that. But I do like him for another solid season. He's also good catching the ball, but that's not really what we're talking about here. But I think just his running ability is solid. And they helped their depth somewhat. Jordan Mason was a little bit of a revelation. And assuming he's healthy this year, depth is a quality I'm going to give some credit to teams for. And they've managed to do that. So I'm actually going to put them, I'll call it middle of the B tier. I like their depth probably a little bit more than the Rams. And I just don't like the Rams. So I'd probably move them right about there. I do think they're not quite duplicates, but they kind of share the same running role. So it is pure depth, not necessarily a 1-2 punch, but it should be still quite effective this year. Their offensive line did quite well last year. So what do you think of Minnesota?
Well, I think I agree with you here. And I think we're likely to see more numbers out of them with their, McCarthy coming in to take over the helm. I could see them pushing for him to run the ball a little bit more, especially if he gets flustered in a game. I think they're going to be looking, and I could be wrong, but I think they're going to be looking for the path of least resistance. So if the passing game is going to be easier, they're going to go there. Running game with the team, I expect that we'll see much usage out of both of them. And if Mason's able to take some of that load off of the not as young as he once was, Aaron Jones, I think that'll be good.
Yeah, and that run game, to your point, will take some pressure off of that young quarterback. So it makes all the sense that they'll try to use it. So who you got next?
Yeah. I'm going to go and talk about Seattle. My old friends, the Seahawks. Let me start by saying that I think that their running back group is actually a neat group. I appreciate Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. I think that they are effective. They're good. It's not a question of are they a good running group. I think they're going to just be an average running group. They had 15 combined touchdowns last year, about 11 or 1,200 yards rushing. That's very, very effective. I do think they're going to be, working hard this season as that, team figures things out. But they kind of brought Darnold in, I think, to pass the ball around. And I think they're going to want him to do that a bunch as well. So I kind of expect that to be in the works. So I am probably just going to move them down into B. I'll put them right around let's say the Bengals there, somewhere right behind them. Yeah, I think that to me makes sense. Again, they're good. They're good in the red zone. They can push the ball in and all that, but I don't think they're quite up there with that upper echelon at this point in time. Well, would you agree? I know it doesn't seem fair to ask a Cardinals fan if they agree with the Seahawks coming down, but I'll ask you anyway.
Yeah, I sure hated hearing you talk trash about the Seahawks. That was awful.
I know you did. I'm sorry about that.
Anyways, no, I get it, and we've mentioned them in the past. I may have greater faith than I even care to admit in their running backs. So I would agree that they're at least here. If they had a better offensive line, I think we'd get to see what they were really capable of.
Yeah.
But I do get it, and again, with the changes that they've made from one quarterback to the next, it can affect the run game as well. So I do think they're an effective running back group. They are capable of being higher than this, but I totally get if they are more like B tier this year. So yeah. Speaking of the people you just moved them next to, I'm going to move Cincinnati. Everyone got really hyped up for Chase Brown last year, and I got kind of swept up into it too because you're like, Joe Mixon's gone. What are we going to do? And he came in and was pretty good, but that run game was that at best. I mean, they had 1,500 total rushing yards as a team last year. And it's just like, I can't really, it's like, is that a great game? And also it reminds me a little bit of like the 2013 Denver Broncos, 2013, 2014 Denver Broncos, where they had this incredible pass game. And then everyone was terrified of that. So nobody sacked the box. They could just kind of run at will. And guys like Noshawn Moreno, who were never good before or after, got a shot at being relevant. So I think maybe Chase Brown gets a little bit of running room just because people are terrified of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So I'm not going to drop them down into the bottom. I don't think they're terrible, but I can't put them up. I mean, the guys we were just talking about, I can't quite put them up there. So they're going to come down one tier, maybe right there with the Panthers. Put the Cats all in the same room together, and we'll get to the Lions. No, I'm just kidding. We're not touching the Lions. Maybe we will. But yeah, just down a bit. I need to see another year. Maybe in year 2, he's really grown and he just takes off. But just from last year's sample size, I'm gonna calm them down just a little bit. So those are teams that we think AI misplaced now. Let's do a couple that we believe at the end of the year are going to be different than where they are now. Like, they might be fair to say that this team is here now, but at the end of the year, they're going to be way better. We're going to just see them, really ascend or really descend. So give me your first ascender or descender.
Well, I'll do an ascender, keeping it positive. I'll take Carolina. Chuba Hubbard, I love Chuba Hubbard. I think he is phenomenal. He's a lot of fun on a team that's trying to figure things out. And I think that they, with Bryce Young there's a lot of things that they're working through, and he's maturing. And they went and picked up Rico Dowdle because the Cowboys hate running backs. And so I think that just gave them more depth and versatility. I think that they're going to be a very interesting 1-2 look. And if Bryce Young is not running all over that field for his life all the time, I can see how that's going to provide new opportunities for the running game. So I expect the running game to be pushed well there, but it'd be more effective with some leverage from the offense working better from on the passing side, being more balanced. So I will move them. I expect them to be kind of up in the middle, probably a B tier. Somewhere around the Vikings. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Let's put them on the right side, right in front of the Rams. That makes sense, I think, to me. But I expect them to be kind of firmly like, hey, we're getting in the end zone. We're picking up yardage. We're a real contributor to the offense going forward. What do you think? Do you think that's a crazy one?
No, not at all. Chuba Hubbard ended our playoff chances last year. So no, a D tier. We may create like a Z tier just for them. But yeah, no, I think that's about right. Like, I like what they put together. Carolina has kind of a storied history of putting together strong running back groups. So let's hope they don't trade them to the Niners here in a couple of years and make my life terrible.
True.
All right. Well, I'm going to move the Chargers. I just skipped right to it. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I am a big Amarian Hampton advocate. I think he's perfect for the NFL. I think that oh my gosh, Harbaugh is going to just push him to the limit and just like, okay, you want to go? Let's go. And Najee Harris is a former multi-year number 1 running back. So while I never thought he was a great running back, I think Harbaugh will get the most out of him if he decides to use him as well. Their offensive line was good last year. So I'm very hyped for for this guy. And I'm going to put him up not quite at the top, but like maybe right behind Buffalo in A tier. I think they're really going to climb. They could be Herbert's going to run some, but like, again, trying to ignore that yardage. I could see them being in the top 10, certainly, maybe challenging for top 5, top 6 in total rushing yards for this coming season. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch the Chargers play, and I'm glad that we don't have to play them this year. So, all right, give me your next one.
All right. Some people might note that the Raiders were who were clearly on the bottom tier, I feel like, last year. And they had a lot of things go wrong. They had a lot of things just not working. But they were clearly on the last. Now they're in the B tier. From AI placed them in the B tier, which I think is a real sign of what they think, both the team commitment to improving, but is Ashton Janty and the impact they're expecting and anticipating him to have, which I think is cool. Him and Mostert will be leading up that charge, but I still feel like this team has a lot of question marks. And I wonder if the game, as we kind of move into the season, if that game is going to be pass driven or rushing driven. And if we're only taking into consideration running and not receiving, which I could see Janty picking up some real total yardage from that side of the ball. I don't know that I think that they're kind of at this, hey, we're in the par area quite yet. I think they're heading in the right direction. I think they will get there. But I'm probably going to keep them in the C tier, probably around the Browns and the New Orleans area. That's what I'm maybe even hoping for the Raiders. I kind of hope that they're there or even B tier. I think that'd be great. But I kind of am anticipating them to be somewhere in this area. Yeah. Does that make sense to you, or do you think Ashton Janty is just the greatest thing and he's going to take him to A?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I am, in some ways, I guess I disagree with you because I do like the way he moves. I do like the way I see him working with Pete Carroll. I think of Pete Carroll and his run game. I think of Marshawn Lynch, and I don't know that this guy's going to be Marshawn Lynch. That's not really fair, but I do think of that. And so I guess if I were placing them, I'd go up. I don't know that I'd take him quite out of B tier, but it takes maybe more than a season to get a team out of the very worst up to some of the very best, usually as a run game. So we'll see. It'll be a fun challenge. But I guess, again, if I were moving them, I'd move them up either maybe top part of B or very end of A. But I don't know that I have that strong convictions here. But I think everyone's rooting for him, oddly enough. Even me as a Seahawks hater with all those Seahawks players there now and with the Raiders, I'm somehow still rooting for them. But
same.
Yeah,
they've had a rough road of it.
Oh gosh,
they had a rough road. So
they have, but maybe it's coming around. I'm excited for them.
Yep.
So last one I'm going to move is Houston. Now, again, I'm maybe an irrational amount. I'm giving some weight to depth. I think Houston might have the best running back depth in the NFL. Joe Mixon having his renaissance, because that implies he'd been bad before, but like really just tearing through the league last year was great. They've still got Dameon Pierce, who I think is maybe the best number 3 running back in the league. And then they added Nick Chubb, who, assuming he's healthy, is one of the few guys I think that's currently in the league who's had like 1,500 yard plus rushing seasons, or 16 or so. I forget exactly where he topped out, but like if they're healthy, and this is all based on teams being relatively healthy, then, I mean, they're one of the best teams just based on depth. Now, based on top end, because only one guy can carry the ball at a time, of course, that's kind of what keeps them from going to like S tier for me. But, I mean, I'd put them in front of Green Bay. I'd put them right about there. And what's nice is that takes us a little more even on the tier maker. So, yeah, that's probably the last one I'd move. What do you think of Houston?
No, I think that makes sense. I mean, if somebody gets injured, somebody goes down, you're good to go. And that's, there's those games where you've got such a disparity between your 1 and 2 that the game's on the line. You really want to keep that dinged up running back in. They're able to just say, hey, you take a break. Nick's got it, or, Dameon Pierce has got it. It's like they're all legitimate running backs that you can put at any point in time. No, I think that they'll be a force to reckon with from that side of the ball.
Yep. Yeah, it should be good. Well, that's going to wrap up this little AI tier list breakdown. We're going to get into defense next week, I believe, in some form or fashion. So I hope you'll join us again. We are trying to get to 100 subscribers by the start of the 2025 season. We're still about 6 weeks away, maybe just a shade under. Thank you. And but we're spiraling towards it very quickly, and that's great. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing, we'd love for you to join us again. Let us know what you think in the comments and what team is just ridiculously placed and who's going to be terrible or better or whatever. So yeah, let us know what you think, and we will see you all next week.